Here we go. I think we're live. I never trust this. Everyone who's watching knows if you've watched me before, I'm always like, are we actually live?
It's happening.
I think we are. Yes. Hello. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. So I am Allison. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the executive director of the Gallatin County Democrats. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we have a legislator from Gallatin County join us. Now, I know this morning that I posted that Senator Pat Flowers would be joining us tonight. I hope you all don't mind, but we had a switch up last minute, and we are lucky to have Senator Chris Pope here instead. I promise we'll have Pat back at some point. There's a storm coming, and he wanted to get home safely and timely. And so, Senator Pope, thank you for stepping in and stepping up.
And stuff, but I'll try and fill the spot.
Well, we're just grateful that you all are on this team and working together and making sure that we can keep everyone updated every Tuesday and Thursday. So I want you to know how grateful I am for that. So with that, how are you? How are things going this week?
Things are starting to feel like there's a routine of sorts. I'm working out of Bozeman, so I'm in my little office with two big screens and a light and a microphone and a camera. So it looks like Star Wars in my office. And I'm getting pretty good at Zooming, probably 10 Zooms a day. Mm-hmm. It's just, I can say that the minute it starts feeling like I've got this figured out, stuff goes sideways and whatnot. So it's never going to be quite a kickback at all.
Sure.
And we are going to be in the middle of at times there's some decorum to the food fight, and at other times there's no decorum to the food fight. And I think we're all just trying to see the long haul as a group out of Bozeman, our wonderful caucus, both House members and Senate members, mm-hmm. to say, what we stand for is working on behalf of our voters in a way that's respectful and that has the best chance of success. And we'll talk about it tonight. We are certainly in the minority, and therefore anything we do, we have to be welcoming to others to come join our position. Mm-hmm. So, it's not a terrific time to be thinking that we can actually muscle our way through anything. And I think the results, which we'll talk about this evening as well, show that, we're not really able to do much without a fairly significant amount of help from the other side, from moderates from the other side. Right. I got my vaccine yesterday.
Yay!
So I had lymphoma in 2013. I'm very healthy, knock on something around here and all that. But it qualified me, and so I was in the state capitol yesterday. Legislators are not getting a special break. It's just the 1B program. But I am in a 100 and I don't know, whatever, 150-year-old or something building that has no ventilation to the outside. So it's like hitting the recircle button in your car. All the air just stays inside. The good news is you don't get the diesel coming from outside. On the other side, you're in that building for 8 or 10 hours and there's no new air. So in some ways, I think it's very appropriate we all get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So certain things are going, pretty well. I'm still in Bozeman a lot though, and I'm not. Unlike Pat Flowers and Jim Hamilton from our town here, the three of us have a house that we all rent, half a mile from the Capitol, and I'm the one who hasn't really I haven't slept there yet.
You don't want to have the college dorm room experience
Yeah,
again with
you
your fellow
know,
legislators?
I will say that, and without giving it up too much, but there is a cabinet in that house that if you opened it had a whole bunch of bottles. So we won't reveal what's in them, but you can bug those guys because you know when the lights turn off and everything sort of calms down and we're not in front of the press and the public, Jim and Pat are doing just fine.
Excellent. That is so good to
We
know.
all need our little ways to do stuff.
Absolutely. Well, you and I were talking right before we came on live about how there are some days that are easier than others right now with the session and how well people are working together or not. And,
Yeah,
that it's real. It's like of course, you're not going to have good days, but there are good things that you can find every day. And I'm certainly learning that and trying to practice that. It's not easy. I'm
yeah.
paying attention as much as I'm paying as close attention to the legislature as I ever have before, and it's not easy this year. It's not. So
People are paying attention, and we're all getting these emails, right? Through the state capitol, you can email your representatives, and I must be getting 150 a day right now.
awesome.
And they're not just on Senate bills; they're on House bills as well, which I don't know as much about. But it feels like there's a real connection to the electorate.
That is
You
awesome.
know, unfortunately, because everybody's freaking out, right? Because we have hills to climb,
Hmm.
and it's already apparent, that we're not going to make it on some of these bills, and we've already seen these bills get muscled through, even though we tried to do whatever we can.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess maybe you have to be an optimist to be in this work.
Yep.
Live for another day and all that stuff. But we're still working very hard. I'm very I'm very, very honored really to be part of this group of 19 senators in the state of Montana who to a person are working their tails off, and it's what you would hope. It's
Yeah.
just it's not quite enough of us.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll work on getting you some more next
And
time.
being, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
remember this time.
we'll,
You,
we'll keep
you
working on that.
now a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some bills that you are working on right now in the Senate or that that we should know about and maybe send you some emails on and
Yeah.
your colleagues on?
Well, in my immediate world, I have half a dozen bills that I'm working on. And the process for a bill as it goes into drafting, sometimes in this one case, it's with the city of Bozeman, is I'm trying to help draft a bill for our town, which I'll explain in a second. But that bill tumbles around a little bit. The language gets modified, just like you would, you know, a school paper or something. It gets marked up,
Mhm.
and then finally you say, okay, that's time, and then you put it in and you drop it. They call it dropping it into the hopper.
Mhm.
At which time it gets a bill number. So my bills are still coming, and there's two or three that are just a few days away from getting a bill number.
Got it.
And it's a pretty stressful time because I mean, there's just so much consideration to make sure these are as right as they can be. And when they go public, if there's something really obvious that should have been thought through and it's not a real happy moment to be owning stuff. But what I'm working on a lot right this minute is I'm calling it the Tax Fairness and Rural Revenue Initiative, and it's a version of the local option sales tax for Bozeman. And let me just say up front, when you get into tax matters, there's nothing that's perfect. There's nothing that says, oh my God, thank you. Because we try really hard to get to there, but there's always taxation stuff is really, really problematic and challenging. And Jim Hamilton's really, really good at it. I come at it as a citizen and as a business person in town, but there's a lot of complexity. But this bill in particular would essentially tax luxury items, and then things like expensive bottles of wine, dinners and stuff, where what we're trying to do is fairly. So I'm trying to, whatever we do, it should be, reasonable.
Mhm.
If a person comes to our town on their way to Yellowstone or up to Big Sky, whatever, and they stop here for dinner, that we ask them to spend a couple bucks in this tax for a luxury good. So it's not about medicine and quarts of milk.
Right.
It's nothing to do with rent. It has nothing to do with anything that we would do day to day in
Right.
theory. And those dollars would then go to three places to reduce our property taxes. Those folks who own property, which is not everybody, number one. Another group of that money would go to help our affordable housing situation. So it would go into a fund that would be used to buy down the price of housing or to buy a piece of land, so that cost isn't in there. And it would all be going through the city's program. So it would be folks who wake up every morning and affordable housing is in their wheelhouse, and they have a plan, and we use those dollars carefully. And the third piece would be, some of those dollars would go to county residents, the county, not to individuals, but to the county government, Gallatin County in this case, to soften the potential issue for if someone lives in the county, comes to Bozeman and has to pay some tax because they come here for products and services, that there'd be some kind of a loop back. And so the idea is that we're taxing folks, if we get on an airplane out of Bozeman, virtually anywhere we go, Portland, Minneapolis, Denver, the whole bit. The minute we get into that airport, we're paying 8 or 10 cents percent tax. And God knows where it goes. So we don't charge anybody. We sort of tell the whole world, come here and let's have at it and have a party. And all of the property owners and those who rent from property owners, their rents are higher because the property owners have these expenses, and the property owners in Bozeman are paying the bill. It's a big bill. So that's something I'm working really hard on, and I'm hoping, we're working with Missoula in this case, and I think with Helena and maybe Billings. We're trying to grow the idea. And again, fairness is really important to me. Taxes are, especially sales taxes, are regressive.
Yep. And
so the affordable housing piece is meant to address regressivity in a sales tax, but it's, honestly, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. I'm working on a bill for energy efficiency standards in the state of Montana, where our utility would be incentivized with a set of expectations to go out into the world at a utility level, not so programs to install street lighting, programs to help homeowners save money by consuming less energy. There's a bazillion ways in a home or in a commercial building. So that's a bill that's coming.
Awesome.
The utility has already told me they're not going to support it. And we'll see. But, the trick is, as a minority member, we're going to do our best to make sure that the message someone's not going to support energy efficiency in Montana, at the end of the day, everybody in the state will know about it. We are going to press as hard as we can on a day-by-day basis, and we spend all our time talking about stuff that we can't actually deliver. But there's a long list of stuff, and everybody's seen these stories in the paper. The House Bill 102, we just lost that, on a vote of 29 Republicans to 21 Democrats. We have 19 votes, so 19 Dems and 2 Republicans came over, but we still lost it by 8 votes to do concealed carry on campus, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have to go into each of these, but that'll keep me up all night.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we could do.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea that there could be a lawsuit in that one, because the Montana University System, MUS, it's called, is in the Constitution straight up that they control what happens on the campus.
Right.
It's a constitutional guarantee to the state's universities. So maybe that will fall on its own weight, but we lost the battle on that. We lost the battle on, the Republicans wanted to relax enforcement on underage alcohol sales. And I fought that tooth and nail, as did other colleagues, and we lost that one 33-17. We lost a bill that probably people weren't paying attention to, and it's sort of a technical one, but Governor Gianforte is going to reduce the mask or eliminate mask requirements. So here's the thinking in the Republican headset. I don't know if I can pull this off, but I'm going to try. It's very simple. Okay, we're going to reduce masks. Everybody take off their masks. Okay, fine. Now, we know that the infection rate is going to go that way, because that's what happens, and it's happened all over the planet Earth, and it's certainly going to happen in this case. So when you do that, more infections go. You're not worried about the folks getting infected, but be damned if you're, the governor and the Republican Party, be damn sure that businesses aren't harmed by lawsuits when folks get sick because there's no one wearing a mask. Now, there's a philosophical starting point on public health that really is mind-boggling, right? And we lost that one, 32-18. I'm looking off to my little cheat sheet over here, but we all want to work across the aisle and stuff, but these are good examples. Where do you even start? You're 10 votes off for, on a 50 vote deal. So you're 20% off right from the get-go on a good day. Mm-hmm. And then people want to attack education funding, or the whole transgender thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we did kill one of those bills, 113.
Yes, we did have one win. We've had a couple, but that's.
We did have a couple. I'll say Pat Flowers passed his bill to allow free fishing to moms on Mother's Day.
Right.
Now there's a bill.
Yep.
We can be thankful for, and Pat, God bless him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
a lot of this stuff is just, it's pretty mind-boggling. And I'm going to say something I have to be a little careful about. One of our representatives here in our area is starting to show her qualifications for being a hard right person when it comes to social issues and women's reproductive rights, transgender rights. And I need to call it out. Mm-hmm. I think it's unconscionable. And I hope that everybody who's listening today and going forward, that we start paying attention to what people are doing today and yesterday and tomorrow on the House floor, in this case, and on the Senate floor, and hold them responsibly for those votes.
Absolutely.
So I'll tell you what, some of this it goes way beyond just being, having a stiff spine when it comes to these matters. It actually means we've got an awful lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff just drives me absolutely up the wall.
You are not alone.
At night, you go and I don't know, tonight, if there's a snowstorm, I'll probably sit out on the porch for about an hour and a half and see if I can cool off.
That sounds
but,
like a good idea.
but anyway, what other things are we doing? There's a bunch of energy bills that we're going to bring, and I spoke to it last time, so I don't want to retread on stuff. But we have a very big conversation going on about climate change and about renewable energy and our legacy. And I don't want to sound wax too eloquent or whatever on our history, but there's an awful lot of families that worked for generations in the carbon fuels industries, and I think we need to recognize that. So, there has to be some appreciation and some respect going both directions. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull this off, but I am working with some folks in the Crow tribe to the east of us to help with an energy transition plan, because their community is completely upside down on these coal mines are basically going out of business. And there were millions of dollars annually coming into the Crow Nation from severance taxes and other types of taxes that relating to the coal business. And they have been basically shut off. And so we have communities in very serious sort of status right this second. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to deal with coal strip, but some of us are also working on, trying to sort of clear the road, let the free market work, let our small businesses that are working on the new energy economy and let them run hard. I'll be working on that in the next few weeks. Let's see. So I'm sure other things will trigger my
yeah.
But
there are so many bills, and as Representative Hamilton reminded us on Tuesday when we talked with him, that this is really where things start to move, which just blows my mind because things have felt like they've been moving since day one. But this is only day 24 of a 90-day session. And, at like this, we're going to just start seeing more and more and needing to respond to more and more. And, one person, one legislator can't know all that's going on in all of that, but I just want to tell everyone who's listening too, thank you for being engaged, because, as you said at the start of this, you're receiving 150, communications every day from constituents, and that is huge. Yeah. And that's engagement that yeah. matters.
It matters a lot. It really makes a very significant impact on how we rank order stuff and how we can think about stuff, and we get new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think, don't give up if it's hard to be in touch with somebody. They're getting a little overwhelmed. Yep. But it's their job to circle back. And I've had some wonderful conversations in the past week and a half on all kinds of different bills. A bill out of Kalispell yesterday was a 3.5-hour session. They would peel back, reverse back all of our subdivision review powers at the local government level. Mm-hmm. To allow septic, not unregulated, but pretty much unregulated, in ways that everybody's on fire tonight. Planners, city planners, and county planners around the state.
Sure.
Yep. That's one of the one of the themes that I find so interesting, and you and I were talking about this, Allison, as we were getting started, which is that we're seeing a shift in the core values of the Republican Party. And we've seen this at the national level, so it's not too hard to imagine, you know, where these folks are not really business people anymore. They used to be. They don't really understand business. I mean, it's really crazy to unmask if your customers need to be safe, and if your customers are paying you money to be in business. You can sort of start with that as, you know, and unravel most of their health planning, but and the focus on these social issues, women's reproductive rights, transgender, anything to do with diversity and inclusion. And it's stunning. I mean, it's really stunning. And I will say that, and this might just show my being sort of, you know, a little bit Bozeman centric, but I walk around the Capitol all the time saying, you know, I've been in this state for an awfully long time, 3 decades, and I've never really actually run into anybody like the folks I run into in the state capitol. And so it feels like, you know, in some ways we're 2 different states or 10 different states. And it's not something I like to dwell on, because that's not really who I am. You know, try to find commonality, get people together. But we're dealing with a very different mindset. And some of these bills, you know, they're going after the local health boards, requiring an elected official to be on the health boards. Even the health boards have elected officials on them. Okay, fine. But, you know, there's such a distrust of local empowerment, local governance, that we, the people, you can't take care of yourself, you wouldn't know, you know, so we're going to require these things from state government on high and tell each community exactly, you know, what we're going to do here. And, you know, it's kind of a mind blower. And these are people who in theory, you know, are espousing liberty and independence and small government and all this stuff. And in reality, they're dictating terms and conditions to each of these communities. My local option sales tax, a woman's choice and ability to find her doctor and have a one-on-one relationship with that esteemed person in her life that she can trust. I mean, this is really foundational to me. And I'm not sure where it ends, but it's a frontal attack, and it's getting, you know, we're going to have to, I mean, I thought we were already double down, triple down last election with Allison's help. I mean, we did the work, but holy cow, it's a mind blower that we've got such a philosophical divide, and it's a raw divide because of the Trump piece of it. But I think we can heal. But you know, I'm really hoping that we can get to a point where people are respected, communities are respected to have their own self-interest at hand. And, you know, we of course have to make sure that, you know, group populations, people in the state aren't being, you know, mistreated and all that. I mean, obviously that's what government can do, is protect, you know, segments of the population that need that. But we also need to let go and let communities make good decisions for themselves. So I've got all these little soapboxes all around my office.
Different heights and, you know, different colors.
No, wait until I jump onto another one.
Well, Chris, we know that you care so much about, you know, what you do and the community that you serve, and it's always apparent when I talk with you, when anyone talks with you, how much you care and how much you listen. And I appreciate that, and I know a lot of other people do as well. We do have a couple questions that have popped up, and so
Okay.
I do want to ask a few.
Yes.
One of them is kind of a larger question, and it's from David. David, thanks for posting this. And it kind of goes to that, what is the real mechanism for ledgering this year's legislative session in order to maximize the odds that we never see this kind of supermajority again? And I think that, if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to answer that question,
Yeah. Yeah.
actually.
Too.
Um, I think it's going to take a lot of us working all year round, talking about values and solutions and common sense, and really bridging these divides that we're seeing. And it's not just about an election season, it's about the work year round. And that's why I'm really grateful that we have the Gallatin County Democrats, is because that's what we do. And that's what we're doing. And kind of some things that you mentioned earlier about, holding some of our legislators accountable for their votes. We want to work on that, and we're trying to work on that. And I never do this, but I'm going to make a pitch right now because it came up. We would welcome your joining us in this, holding Republicans in Gallatin County accountable for their bad votes and bad bills. We have a new Act Blue page that you can donate to help us make that happen. I'll post it after we're done here, but it's Accountability 2022. We're going to record all these bad votes, bad bills, and bad statements that they make on the floors during debates and in committee, because there's a lot of them. I listened to some of them today, and it's mind blowing to me. So
Yeah.
it's going to take all of us working all the time, taking breaks when we need to, but working all the time. So that's my little pitch on, that's my soapbox. And I welcome anyone who wants to chat about that more. But another question, this is specifically for you, is how do you think the bill to extend the high school for students with disabilities will go, your bill that you've been working on?
Well, I appreciate that question. If there was nothing else I was doing with my entire legislative self, if that was it, I'd be, all in and happy and totally engaged. This is really important to me and to a whole bunch of folks in Bozeman. And we had a wonderful hearing Wednesday last week of this past week. So if you, oh wait, Monday. So a few days ago, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. And we were in front of the House Education Committee, and just the short version was that I found a wonderful moderate Republican Representative Fred Anderson from Great Falls, who's been on school boards and maybe he's been a supervisor of schools, knowledgeable, very even-handed and, gentle. And he brought the bill to the Education Committee, and we were all on Zoom and other ways to present, and the hearing went terrific. And I'm hoping that we'll hear about that bill on Monday. It's called executive action. So you hear all the public comments, and that comment period and the hearing is done. And then you usually wait until another meeting, the next meeting, to have executive action, when all of the members of this committee get to freely talk about stuff. And it's not something that the public can then comment on. We should have executive action on Monday of next week, I'm hoping. Awesome. And I'm very hopeful for a positive outcome, which would put it on the House floor. And then if we can get it through the House floor, we have both the Speaker of the House, so that's a Republican, Wiley Galt, and the Majority Leader, Sue Vinton, another Republican, are co-sponsors of this bill. And we have another half dozen sponsors in the House side, and then when it comes to the Senate, we'll have a dozen sponsors right off the bat. The Senate's a smaller beast, but it's encouraging to have people paying attention to this. Yep. Had a tremendous amount of support in Bozeman, and I'm really proud of our town. Christy Sofianek runs something that, if you haven't Googled this yet, check it out. It's called MSU learning is for everyone. So that's life, scholars,
Okay.
program on campus. And I spoke to Waded Cruzado 2 weeks ago, and she said that it's up in the top, half dozen of her most favorite things that she knows about her university. Christie's doing this crazy good job of matriculating young folks, Montanans, who have their high school diploma and with, in some cases, severe disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
but have an IEP, an independent education plan,
Mm-hmm.
takes them into secondary, second higher, what am I saying, at post high school
Right.
education, college,
Mm-hmm.
and gives them access to residential life, social activities, sports, and there's 250 universities in the country. Now MSU is part of that. Christie's the head of it. She's just awesome. And there are peer advisors, other students who are abled or helping their colleagues and their classmates.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, that'll, get to your heartstrings. And, this bill, if we can get it through, will just start a whole pathway of these kids coming out of lower grades in public school, getting their high school diploma. They might go to an MSU program like Life Scholars,
Mm-hmm.
and they could also do other things. They might go into get a job and do stuff, and but they can live independently.
Yep.
Or live in assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
And the families, God bless them, every one of them. They're most courageous, and I don't think we can appreciate how much hard work it is to get a young person, Montana, into 10th and 11th grade.
Yeah.
Many of them had, tremendous sort of issues to deal with health-wise, earlier in life. And these families are courageous and heroes of mine. So,
Well, thank you for doing what you can for them and for pushing that bill. That's really positive and encouraging to know that this bill has some legs this time
yes,
around.
yes, it does. And I'll
Yeah.
report out on it. And thank you so much for that question, because that's one of the things that's most meaningful to me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think with that, because that is a way to end on a positive note, we will conclude for this evening. Senator Pope, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for stepping in. Thank you to everyone engaging in the session this year, and keep up the good work.
Pass on the good word from all of us here in Bozeman, and thank you. And we'll see you again.
All right, take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye now. Thank you.